Greetings, fellow seekers of truth and unravelers of ancient enigmas. Welcome to Ancient Relics Keeper, where history's most profound secrets await your keen discovery. Let the journey of discovery begin. The Queen's Tomb. A strange discovery connected to Egypt has just been announced in Turkey, far beyond the borders of Egypt itself. A series of tombs was uncovered, believed to date back around 10,000 years. According to some reports, these tombs actually belong to an entirely different culture that once inhabited the region of modern-day Antalya, near the ancient city of Myra. The ancient people who built these magnificent tombs believed in a winged creature that would descend from the sky to carry the souls of the dead into the afterlife. Because of this belief, they often constructed their tombs far away from human settlements, typically at the edges of cliffs or on the peaks of high mountains. This point, you might be wondering what any of this has to do with ancient Egypt. Strangely, archaeological teams have discovered the name of Queen Nefertiti appearing all over this area. This is puzzling because the tombs here were built around 400 BC, while Queen Nefertiti was a figure of Egypt's 18th dynasty around 1300 BC. How could her name appear in a burial site belonging to a completely different culture separated by thousands of miles and hundreds of years? The answer remains a mystery. The alien ship. For many years, countless rumors have swirled around strange phenomena in Antarctica. Last year, a man claiming to be a researcher and UFO expert from Argentina named Marcelo Iresa shared satellite images of a mysterious dark structure standing out against the endless white snow of the continent. The structure lies on top of a hill over 100 m long with an unusual shape, a strange combination of curves and straight lines, making it look unlike any natural formation. Some conspiracy theorists even claim the structure emitted artificial light. American UFO researcher Scott Waring declared that it was in fact a crashed alien spacecraft. He went so far as to point out where the cockpit, the wings, and the engine compartment would be based on its color. He speculated that it was made of metal. Many people online were quick to believe this interpretation. But here's the thought-provoking question. Why do you want to believe it? Is it terrifying to think that an alien ship might have crashed on Earth? Or does the idea excite you? Ask yourself. Many argue that it's no coincidence world governments restrict public access to Antarctica, allowing only certain areas to be visited for scientific research. Beyond the extreme cold, danger, and difficulty of reaching the continent, an international treaty ensures that nations share the icy land and protect its environment from human interference by limiting access solely to specially trained scientists and experts. However, for some, those reasons sound like mere excuses. They believe that with so many anomalies and hidden structures beneath the ice, there must be something far greater lurking below the frozen surface. Something ordinary people could never imagine. Some former Navy SEALs have even claimed to have discovered a network of tunnels stretching beneath the ice with glowing green corridors covered in strange ancient symbols. Could a forgotten civilization be sleeping down there? Or perhaps an alien species itself? The Second Sphinx. Is the legend of the Great Sphinx really the story of just one statue? A bold theory suggests there may be a second Sphinx, equally majestic, buried beneath the Giza Plateau waiting to be uncovered. For centuries, the Great Sphinx of Giza has stood as the silent guardian of Egypt's mysteries. But what if it is not alone? This question was raised by Ra Abdul Halim, the public relations director of the Giza Pyramid Complex. His statement shocked his colleagues and caused many Egyptologists to frown. Halim claimed he had evidence of a second Sphinx's existence. According to him, this statue is almost identical to the original, stretching about 75 m long with massive legs extending over 15 m. The image of two sphinxes facing each other on the Giza Plateau as if locked in an eternal standoff is difficult not to picture. The theory is not without supporters. Researchers Malcolm Hutton and Jerry Cannon point out that in some ancient carvings, sphinxes are often depicted in pairs. They argue this proves there was once another sphinx facing the famous one symbolizing the sun and the moon. the two celestial bodies of utmost importance to the ancient Egyptians. However, Egypt's top archaeologists quickly dismissed the claim. Zahi Hawass, former Minister of Antiquities and a leading Sphinx expert, bluntly stated that Halim's claim was baseless. According to him, the Great Sphinx is unique, and there is no serious evidence supporting the existence of a second statue. To many, Halim seemed to be digging his own hole. Instead of backing down, Halim doubled down. He insisted that there were ancient texts referencing a second Sphinx. But these records had been mysteriously erased, as if someone wanted to conceal the truth. For what reason? Could this be a cover-up dating back thousands of years? Such claims only fueled further skepticism. The story began to resemble Egypt's version of the Loch Ness Monster legend. Everyone talks about it, but no one has ever seen it. Professor Mohammed Hamza, former head of archaeology at Cairo University, dealt another heavy blow to Halim's argument. Like Hawass, he asserted there was absolutely no reliable evidence of a second Sphinx's existence. And with that, the theory seemed buried, just like the statue Halim believes lies hidden under the sand. Still, the familiar saying, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence lingers. If the second Sphinx truly exists, perhaps it is simply hiding too well. Does Halim's claim have any merit? In reality, smaller statues have been found around the Giza Plateau, but none approach the grandeur of the Great Sphinx. And let's not forget, if the Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities ever suspected the existence of such a monumental discovery, they would have made it global news. But then again, maybe there is a reason why the second Sphinx must remain a secret. The Cannibal Hymn. Among the vast collection of ancient Egyptian texts, one inscription is considered the most disturbing of all. The Cannibal Hymn. Unlike other writings that describe the afterlife as a peaceful place for pharaohs, this text opens a scene so haunting it's hard to believe. The inscription tells how King Yunus, the last pharaoh of the 5th dynasty around 300 B.C., not only became a god after death, but also consumed other gods. This is not a metaphor. The text describes him devouring their hearts, souls, and even their bones, an act that demonstrated absolute power. The words were carved directly into the walls of Yunus's pyramid at Saqqara. Not written on papyrus, they read like an insurance policy for the king, ensuring he could conquer the afterlife and claim supreme authority among the gods. Normally, such texts describe the pharaoh blending in with the gods. But Yunus was different. He did not merely join them. He ruled over them. The inscriptions portray him as the master of the sky, the earth, and everything else, as if campaigning to be the ruler of the afterlife with the slogan, Yunus, stronger than your gods. In the Cannibal Hymn, Yunus swallows the intestines, magic, and essence of the gods. The horrific descriptions make readers feel as if they are witnessing a gruesome feast. Bones crushed, marrow sucked dry, and the lungs of wise deities swallowed whole. For a long time, some Egyptologists like A. Wallace Budge believed this was evidence that ancient Egyptians practiced cannibalism. However, most modern scholars now agree the text is symbolic, asserting Yunus' supreme power in the afterlife. He did not literally eat the gods, but absorbed their power to become the mightiest of them all. Even in death, Yunus sought absolute control, a testament to the timeless ambition of this king. Protective tattoos for childbirth. Few know that ancient Egyptian women once bore tattoos with mystical power, especially during pregnancy and childbirth. For them, tattoos were not mere body decoration, but talismans imprinted directly on the skin to shield them from the dangers of giving birth. In 2019, this mystery came to light when anthropologist in Austin and her team studied 2 tattooed mummies at Deir el-Medina, the village where workers built the pharaoh's tombs. Human skin is rarely preserved, making the discovery of tattoos extraordinarily rare. The destruction caused by tomb robbers inadvertently allowed scientists to uncover what had been hidden for thousands of years. On the preserved hip of a middle-aged woman, Austin discovered black ink patterns running along her lower back. These were not fashion motifs, but images of bees, the god who protected childbirth, alongside the figure of a cow linked to purification rituals. The second tattoo, fainter and only visible through infrared imaging, depicted the Eye of Horus, an ancient symbol of protection, and another image of bees wearing a feathered crown next to wavy patterns symbolizing the marshes where water was used to ease labor pains. Even ancient clay figurines bear similar markings. Egyptologist Mary Lee Arnett noted that these symbols reveal how tattoos were a crucial part of women's lives at the time, acting as ever-present charms etched into their bodies. Experts believe these were magical shields, helping women survive the perilous process of childbirth. In a society where giving birth often meant death, bearing divine symbols on the skin must have brought comfort and hope. These discoveries are especially valuable because Egyptian art rarely depicted pregnant women. These tattoos open a rare window into their real experiences. Anthropologist Sonia Zakriki likened them to sacred armor, embedding the power of the gods directly into the body. Perhaps ancient Egyptian mothers were thousands of years ahead of their time, transforming tattoos into a fusion of beauty and sacred protection. The mysterious black resin. Imagine excavating a priceless artifact only for a thick black sticky substance to suddenly drip down, covering everything in sight. A scene both horrifying and unbelievable. This is not fiction, but a true account tied to the Osiris shaft, a mysterious underground structure buried deep beneath the Giza Plateau. For years, this black substance has captivated archaeologists and historians alike. Where did it come from? And why did the ancient Egyptians cover mummies and coffins with it? Studies reveal that the material is no accident. Experts have found it to be a mixture of tree, resin, bumin, and animal fat components widely used in ancient Egyptian mummification. When combined, they created a thick tar-like resin capable of preserving bodies and protecting coffins from moisture and decay. The Osiris shaft is a three-level structure carved into the bedrock. Discovered in the 992nd, it remains one of Egypt's most enigmatic sites. Its lowest chamber contains a stone sarcophagus submerged in water, surrounded by small niches that may have once held other burials. When archaeologists first entered the shaft, they found the sarcophagus and walls coated in a dense black resin, as if the entire space had been drowned in it. Why was there so much of it? Some theories suggest it was used for ceremonial purposes to honor Osiris, the god of the underworld. Others believe it symbolized rebirth, linked to the fertile black silt of the Nile. Whatever the reason, the ancient Egyptians seemed to aim not only to preserve the dead, but to transform them into divine beings, prepared for resurrection in the afterlife. Over time, the resin hardened, forming a tar-like crust that made the tomb's atmosphere eerie and oppressive. Picture descending into darkness where the walls glisten with an ancient black substance that has endured for thousands of years. It's easy to see why this discovery is both fascinating and unsettling. In 1998, renowned Egyptologist Zahi Hawass rediscovered the Osiris shaft. It lies directly beneath the causeway linking the Great Sphinx to the Pyramid of Khafre. Strangely, during the excavation, few mentions were made of the black resin inside. Did they dismiss it as a natural occurrence, or was there an effort to keep this secret hidden? The answer remains unknown. Interestingly, this black resin is not exclusive to the Osiris shaft. It has been found coating elite coffins, including that of Tutankhamun and a high priest named Jed Kanuf. His coffin was drenched with liters of the substance, seeping into every crevice as if to seal him away forever. This was no accident. It was a deliberate ritual. For years, archaeologists struggled to explain its purpose until Dr. Kate Fulcher and her team at the British Museum used gas chromatography, mass spectrometry to analyze it. Their findings showed the resin was a mixture of plant oils, animal fats, tree resin, beeswax, and bitumen, a compound serving as cement, perfume, and adhesive all at once. Its ingredients came from far and wide. Pistacia resin was imported from Greece or Lebanon, while bitumen was harvested from massive natural deposits floating in the Dead Sea, traded back to Egypt. Yet its meaning goes far beyond preservation. In Egyptian culture, black symbolized rebirth and eternal life, representing the fertile land Kemet. The black land, coating a coffin with black resin not only safeguarded the body, but also linked the deceased with the power of life itself, enabling their resurrection in the afterlife. Perhaps this was not merely burial material, but a sacred substance, a bridge between the living and the dead. Even now, the black resin continues to defy time, holding on to secrets the ancient Egyptians entrusted to it thousands of years ago. The unknown queen of Saqqara at the ancient necropolis of Saqqara, south of Cairo. An astonishing discovery has shaken the world of Egyptian archaeology. This site has long been famous for its dozen pyramids, including the oldest in Egypt. Over decades of excavation, scientists have uncovered thousands of artifacts. But only recently have they revealed the identity of a mysterious queen who rested here more than 4,000 years ago. Her tomb lies near the Pyramid of King Teti, who ruled during the era known as the Pyramid Age around 2680 to 2180 B.C. Although the tomb was excavated over a decade ago, the queen's identity remained a mystery. It was only recently that a nearby Irari temple was uncovered, bearing her name on its walls and inscribed on a fallen obelisk. She was called Queen Neith, a name never before mentioned in any ancient texts. With this discovery, she emerges as an entirely new figure in the field of Egyptology. To this day, nothing is known about Queen Neith's life or influence. But beneath the sands of Saqqara, archaeologists have yet to explore 52 burial shafts, each containing more than 50 wooden coffins and countless treasures still waiting to be revealed. Perhaps layer by layer, the sands of time will finally answer the questions about this woman who was once revered as a queen, only to be forgotten by history for millennia. Demon skulls and Nazi briefcase. An expedition into the remote mountains of Russia stumbled upon a set of eerie skulls unlike anything seen before. These skulls had enormous eye sockets, bizarrely curved shapes, and protrusions resembling horns. Members of the team described them as belonging to something alien, forms never documented in any scientific record. In a separate discovery, a hermit living near the forest found a briefcase marked with the symbol of a secret organization founded by Heinrich Himmler, the infamous Nazi leader in 1935. Immediately, people began connecting the mysterious briefcase to the strange skulls. It is well known that Hitler and his inner circle were obsessed with occult rituals and constantly sought evidence of extraterrestrial life. Numerous conspiracy websites quickly linked these skulls to the occult practices of the SS, claiming they might be the remains of aliens, demons, or some dark creatures beyond human understanding. However, paleontologists argue the skulls may simply have been deformed by genetic mutations or disease. Even so, they look disturbingly real, and no one knows where they came from. They could belong to an unknown extinct species, or perhaps something far darker still lurks in the forests of Russia. Another Giant's Causeway. Could giants have once walked the earth? If they did, they must have had a special fondness for Scotland. This land holds a natural wonder that rivals the legendary Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland. Imagine a world where giants strode across the sea, leaving behind strange hexagonal basalt columns in their wake. On the island of Staffa, there is a cave called Fingal's Cave filled with these very columns. Fingal's Cave in Scotland and the Giant's Causeway in Ireland seem to have been shaped by the same mythical hand. The two sites, separated by the ocean, share an uncanny resemblance that raises the question: was there once an ancient connection linking the two shores? Discovered in 1772 by botanist Joseph Banks, The cave's grandeur left him aruck. Comparing it to massive cathedrals built by human hands, he exclaimed, "Churches and palaces built by man. They are but toys compared to this." Even a man of science like Banks could not resist its surreal beauty. But the lingering question remains. Why do two locations divided by a vast sea share the same rare geological formation? The answer may lie in ancient Celtic legend. According to Celtic belief, Fingal's Cave is the remnant of a bridge built by an Irish giant named Finn Cole. One end of the bridge began in Ireland, ending at the Giant's Causeway, while the other stretched across to Scotland, finishing at Fingal's Cave. The story tells how Finn Cole built the bridge to cross the sea and face his rival, the Scottish giant Ben, but when the bridge was completed, Finn realized his opponent was far larger than he imagined. Bernandonar challenged Finn to a wrestling match and planned to use the bridge to invade Ireland. To avoid the fight, Finn's wife, Una, disguised him as a baby and laid him in a cradle. When Bernandonar arrived and could not find Finn, he decided to wait in the house. Una served him bread laced with iron. When Bernandonar bit into it, he broke his teeth. Una mocked him, saying her husband ate such bread every day without breaking a tooth. She then handed the baby a bread without iron which Finn ate effortlessly in front of him, terrified by the imagined strength of the baby's father. Bernandonar fled back to Scotland, destroying the bridge behind him to prevent Finn from following. The story may sound like a fantastic legend. Yet, local guides at these sites often say there is a grain of truth hidden within. In reality, the Giant's Causeway and Fingal's Cave were once part of the same land formation. Both were created by a massive volcanic eruption over 50 million years ago. Could it be that the Celts, through generations of storytelling, preserved a memory of this ancient land bridge? Perhaps giants did not build this wonder, but maybe they once used it. And if the bridge formed 50 million years ago, how did the Celts know the lands were once connected? Every legend hides a fragment of truth. Who knows? In some forgotten age, giants might really have crossed that bridge from Scotland to Ireland, with the myth carrying their memory through the ages. Treasures from sunken ships. A team of researchers surveying the seabed off the coast of Greece has uncovered 4 mysterious shipwrecks that may reveal clues about ancient Mediterranean trade. The discovery occurred near the island of Kaisos with support from the Institute of Historical Research of the National Hellenic Research Foundation. Inside one of the ships, archaeologists unearthed a treasure trove of artifacts, primarily ancient pottery. The most significant discovery came from the oldest vessel dating to the 2nd or 3rd century CE, which contained a large number of ancient Roman amphitheatres. These clay jars were once used to transport olive oil produced in Spain and Africa, carried across the Mediterranean to various empires. The name amph comes from the Greek word amphiras, meaning carried on both sides, referring to the jar's 2 handles. Though these ceramic jars are not gold or jewels, their 500-year age makes them priceless witnesses to ancient life. What's truly remarkable, according to the lead archaeologist, is that this is the first time from both Spain and North Africa have been found together on a single shipwreck. It is likely the vessel sank while transporting oil to the ancient city of Rhodes. And what about the other 3 ships? They span nearly 1,000 years, with the most recent belonging to the modern era. This expedition is part of a 3-year research project to map the seabed around Kaisos. The team has already conducted more than 100 dives, and on future missions, they hope to use advanced equipment to uncover even more ancient treasures. The Tomb of the Warrior Women. An ancient tomb has just been uncovered in Russia, the final resting place of 4 legendary female warriors. The burial dates back more than 500 years, and the women belong to the nomadic Scythian tribe. The Scythians were a fierce warrior people considered the closest real-life counterpart to the Amazon warriors of Greek mythology. They lived in small groups, wore pants for easier horseback riding, and trained both boys and girls to ride and shoot arrows from a young age. For them, the battlefield and the steppe were their school. Roughly one-third of Scythian women excavated have been buried with weapons, many showing battle scars. The archaeological team led by Valery Guay discovered 19 burial mounds near the village of Dvitsa. Inside one tomb lay 4 female warriors spanning 3 generations, with the youngest having died at about 12 years old. 2 others were in their 20s and the oldest was around 50. The burial rituals clearly show that women were honored as equals to men. The eldest woman was buried wearing a golden crown engraved with floral patterns called calathos still resting on her head after more than 2 millennia. It was the first of its kind ever found in the region. Archaeologists also uncovered iron daggers, spears, a bronze mirror, and jewelry made from glass beads. She was buried in the posture of a horse rider as if galloping into eternity. The AI aluminum wedge. In 1974, a group of construction workers in Romania stumbled upon something strange while digging near the Mureș River in the town of Iași. They expected to find soil and stones, but instead uncovered 2 ancient mastodon bones alongside a small metallic object that didn't belong to its surroundings. The object was later named the AI aluminum wedge. It measures about 20 centimeters long, 13 centimeters wide, and 5 centimeters thick. It was made of aluminum, a metal humans only learned to produce in the 19th century. Strangely, tests suggested it could be as old as 250,000 years. How could an aluminum artifact lie next to fossilized bones millions of years old? Could this be a tool from an unknown ancient civilization, or evidence of extraterrestrial intervention? First, experts thought the wedge might be part of modern machinery, perhaps debris from a landing gear or construction equipment buried over time. However, analysis showed it was composed of 90% aluminum and 12 other metals such as copper, zinc, gallium, and silver. Its structure and sharp edges suggested it was once part of a complex mechanical system, though no one could determine exactly what. Some theories claim it is a fragment of a space probe, or even an alien spacecraft. If extraterrestrials ever visited Earth, perhaps they left this wedge behind after an accident. While this idea is tempting, most scientists dismiss it. The mystery deepens because aluminum does not occur naturally in pure form, indicating it should be modern. Yet, its placement alongside ancient bones and its thick oxide layer make any conclusion uncertain. For decades, the wedge sat quietly in the Transian History Museum until researcher Florian Galleria re-examined it in 1995. Tests in Romania and Switzerland suggested it might have been part of landing gear, but nothing was proven. To this day, the AIUD wedge remains an unsolved enigma. Prehistoric civilizations. When Antarctica was still part of the Suppic continent Gondwana, it lay much farther north than it does today. It wasn't until about 25 million years ago that the frozen landmass broke away and drifted southward. Before that, with its higher latitude and a warmer global climate, Antarctica had a tempered environment. The continent was once home to lush tropical rainforests similar to those of modern New Zealand with abundant plant and animal life. In 2017, scientists discovered evidence of this ancient forest beneath the ice, completely transforming our view of Antarctica from a frozen wasteland to a prehistoric paradise. Knowing that life once thrived there, many people began scouring satellite images for traces of an ancient civilization. Some images were claimed to show ruins of old structures. However, scientists argue there is no evidence humans ever lived in Antarctica before modern times. What appear to be ruins are likely just natural formations. Moreover, humans had not yet appeared during the warm period when the continent was habitable. Still, some believe scientists and governments are hiding the truth that an ancient civilization or extraterrestrial beings once inhabited the icy land. Otherwise, why do some images seem to show medieval castles, flying saucers, and tunnels beneath the ice? Officially, scientists insist there is nothing there. The hidden tunnel. Forget fictional adventures. Real exploration is happening inside the Great Pyramid of Giza itself. Within this monumental wonder, the last surviving wonder of the ancient world. A secret has remained sealed for 500 years until now. In 2023, with the help of advanced technology, experts discovered a tunnel about 9 m long, hidden near the pyramid's main entrance. This is no longer traditional archaeology with shovels and dust. Instead, the pyramid was transformed into a giant X-ray film. The International Scan Pyramids project used muon tomography, cosmic particles that pass through stone to peer deep into the structure. The result was a tunnel located just behind the northern chevron blocks, leaving archaeologists stunned. Mustafa Waziri, head of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, believes the tunnel may have been built to relieve structural pressure, acting like an ancient ventilation system. However, others suggest it hides something more significant, perhaps a secret chamber, forgotten treasure, or even traces of a lost civilization. This is not the first time the Scan Pyramids project has made waves. In 2017, they discovered a massive void within the pyramid. And in 2016, another mysterious cavity was found in the northeast corner. These continuous discoveries suggest the ancient Egyptians deliberately created hidden spaces within the pyramid, using sophisticated techniques that remain difficult to explain. Built during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu, the Great Pyramid stands as a testament to the ingenuity of ancient Egyptian engineers. The chevron technique, stacking stones to relieve pressure, not only protected the structure, but also created hidden voids. These discoveries are not only thrilling, but also provide deeper insight into how the ancients built such colossal monuments without modern technology. They also boost tourism, a vital lifeline for Egypt. What other secrets lie waiting to be revealed? Only time will tell. The rebirth of green. Around 90 million years ago, when dinosaurs ruled the Earth, West Antarctica was a lush tropical rainforest, a stark contrast to the icy wilderness we see today. At that time, the continent was almost entirely free of ice with an average annual temperature of about 12 degrees Celsius. Despite 4 months of total darkness still experienced in Antarctica today, life flourished. The Earth was undergoing one of the most dramatic and rapid climate shifts in 140 million years. Now, as the modern world faces its own climate crisis, scientists are asking, could plants and insects once again thrive on this frozen land? In an interview with New Zealand Stuff, Antarctic ecosystem expert Ian Hogg explained that the warmest parts of Antarctica are slowly converging with the coldest parts of the subantarctic regions, already home to mosses, lichens, and flowering plants. As global temperatures rise, these small organisms will have a better chance of crossing the sea and colonizing the continent. According to Hogg, tiny invertebrates and plants from subantarctic islands will be the pioneers. He even believes rodents may one day appear there, though that could take a long time. Some species of fish and crabs have already begun migrating south. If Antarctica continues to become more hospitable to invasive species, could serve as a warning. Their arrival threatens to wipe out many rare creatures unique to Antarctica species humanity has yet to fully discover. The Temple of the Water Cult. Archaeologists have unearthed the ruins of a 3,000-year-old temple in Peru, believed to have been a place of worship for a prehistoric cult that venerated water and performed fertility rituals. This dating places the structure in the middle of the Stone Age, making it the first known Stone Age temple discovered in the region. The temple lies within the archaeological site of Huaca El Ro in Oyatén, Peru, surrounded by 2 rivers in the Zagna Valley. Its location was no coincidence. Archaeologists believe the cult deliberately chose the meeting point of the 2 rivers where a new river was born to honor the water deity. Small wells found nearby may have been used to predict rainfall, emphasizing how central water was to this ancient community's life. The temple was built from large stones transported from about 3 kilometers away. Evidence shows multiple generations lived here before the site was abandoned around 250 B.C. Later, the Chumi people reoccupied the area and used it as a cemetery. In one burial, They discovered a ceremonial pottery vessel buried alongside the original owner of the land. Egypt's mud-covered mummy. In a sun-scorched corner of Egypt's desert, archaeologists have announced an unprecedented discovery. A mummy encased entirely in mud. A burial style so unusual it has stunned experts worldwide. Instead of the traditional linen wrappings and ornate coffins, this mummy was sealed with a thick layer of mud, as if locked within clay. When the coffin was opened, researchers speculated the mud may have been applied to reinforce the body after it was damaged. Alternatively, it might have been a poor person's attempt to imitate the burial practices of the elite, who used expensive imported resin in mummification. In ancient Egyptian society, aromatic resins were symbols of status reserved for the upper class. But with mud, an abundant material, the poor may have created their own humble version of eternal preservation. What puzzles researchers is whether this was a common custom among the poor at the time, since mud decays easily over millennia. This may explain why no other similar mummies have been found. Perhaps the tradition of mud wrapping existed for thousands of years, but was erased by time. This mummy, dating to 127 B.C., was buried in a coffin that didn't belong to it. A coffin originally made for a woman who died much later. The mummy's true identity remains unknown, as does its story. Perhaps someone stole the coffin to bury a loved one, discarding the original body to make room for the mudwap deceased. An ancient mystery quietly resting beneath the sands of time. The ancient rock-cut tombs. Amid a barren desert, hundreds of tombs carved into rock cliffs have silently endured for thousands of years, as if waiting for human hands to rediscover them. While surveying the Ali Media necropolis, archaeologists stumbled upon a surprise. Rectangular entrances cut into the mountain face, marking tombs hidden in plain sight. The team documented around 250 such tombs, though they believe many more remain concealed in unexplored areas. How old are these tombs? Some date back to around 200 B.C., while others are as recent as 30 B.C. This means the site was in continuous use for over 2 millennia, from Egypt's Old Kingdom to the Roman occupation. Unlike the grand monuments of Saqqara or the Valley of the Kings, these tombs are humble. They may have been the final resting places for officials, scribes, and members of the lower middle class who once lived in the city of Akhum. During the Old Kingdom, Akhum was a major administrative center. Today, historians see these discoveries as a rare chance to shed light on the lives of Egypt's middle-class people, often overlooked in historical records. While the stories of pharaohs and rulers are told through great monuments, the small tombs of Al-Hamidiya offer an intimate glimpse into the lives of merchants, bureaucrats, and wage earners. A simple yet vivid slice of ancient Egyptian society, long forgotten by time. The forgotten Soviet submarine base. Deep in Russia's Siberian wilderness lies a place long forgotten, an abandoned submarine base hidden underground as if waiting for a new world war. This dark labyrinth of tunnels is believed to have been constructed during the Soviet era, as a nuclear shelter for submarines after World War II. Yet, the secret base was never used. Construction began in the 1960s, but slowed during the 1980s as the Soviet Union fell into decline. The project was ultimately abandoned. Only recently did a group of curious locals from the town of Blaso in far eastern Siberia venture inside. Armed with cameras and curiosity, the base features 2 massive parallel tunnels connected by smaller passages. The main tunnels are large enough to house some of today's biggest submarines. The entire network stretches for thousands of meters. What's most unsettling is that the explorers detected unusually high background radiation, something that shouldn't exist unless nuclear stockpiles were once hidden here or the base was contaminated. Today, Russia's powerful Pacific Fleet is stationed in Vladivostok, including at least 1 missile submarine, 5 destroyers, and 10 nuclear submarines. Should the world fall into war again, this hidden base may no longer stay buried. More concerning is that it faces directly across the ocean toward Alaska, the world's oldest inside an ancient Han Dynasty tomb. archaeologists discovered an unexpected treasure. The oldest tea leaves ever found. This gift of nature has endured for 150 years. Preserved inside the mausoleum of Emperor Jing near modern-day Xi'an. The discovery was made at the Yangling Mausoleum, a massive site first excavated in 1990. At that time, archaeologists unearthed chariots, pottery figurines, weapons, and many valuable artifacts. Yet, the most puzzling finds were small, withered plant remains that were difficult to identify. Only recently, thanks to modern technology, were they confirmed to be tea. This finding not only proves that China's royalty enjoyed tea thousands of years before the West even knew of the drink, but it also sheds light on the ancient Silk Road. According to the Smithsonian, the earliest written record of tea dates to around 59 B.C. Matching the age of this discovery, the exact origin of tea remains a mystery, but by the 7th century CE, it had become a popular beverage in northern China. Perhaps this tradition had quietly begun 1,000 years earlier in the fragrant tombs of an emperor who lies in silent repose. Houses inside the cave. History has been challenged once again. In a cave in France, scientists have uncovered structures built an astonishing 175,000 years ago, older than any known human-made construction. Who were the architects behind these mysterious stone forms? None other than humanity's long misunderstood cousins, the Neanderthals. They built these works silently, hundreds of centuries before Homo sapiens ever set foot in Europe. Though Neanderthals never raised coastal towers or monumental wonders, this discovery shows they possess creativity far beyond what was once believed. These were not mere makeshift shelters. Researchers found traces of deliberately constructed walls, surprising archaeologists worldwide. For Neanderthals, the concept of a wall may have been a revolutionary invention. Instead of bricks or mortar, they used stalagmites, stone spikes rising from the cave floor. They pulled hundreds of these from their roots, leaving deep pits as if an underground forest had been uprooted. They then stacked them into structures that can only be described as prehistoric architectural experiments. The most impressive feature in the cave is two circular walls built in 4 layers supported by upright stalagmites. The largest wall reaches hip height and stretches more than 6 m. Marie Ceci of Leiden University admitted this was something entirely different from anything archaeologists had ever seen. These stalagmite constructions may be the oldest known building projects ever unearthed. For years, the image of Neanderthals was confined to that of brutish cave dwellers. But this discovery reveals a different truth. They didn't just survive. They built. Their construction may lack today's aesthetics, but in their time, it was proof of a busy and creative mind. And this was not an isolated case. Other evidence continues to emerge. Finely crafted clothing, sturdy shelters, mastery of fire, and sophisticated tools. One study even mentioned a Neanderthal workshop. They lived in this area for nearly 200,000 years. Was this a sudden burst of creativity? And where did their architectural inspiration come from? Perhaps it is time to rewrite the story of Neanderthals, not as primitive relics, but as the first artisans to leave their mark on the walls of prehistory. The holy nail beneath the monastery. In an ancient monastery in South Bohemia, Czech Republic, archaeologists made a stunning discovery. A secret underground chamber forgotten for over 600 years. Beneath the stone floor of this 12th century monastery lay a wooden box inlaid with gold inscribed with the words, "Jesus is King." Inside the box was an iron nail about 15 centimeters long. Immediately, speculation arose that it might be one of the nails used in the crucifixion of Jesus. The discovery took place in Malevko, a historic town inhabited since the Bronze and Iron Ages, later settled by the Slavs in the 8th century. The monastery was built in 1187 and destroyed by Hussite forces in 1420. It is believed that during the Hussite attack, the monks hid their sacred relics underground to protect them. The nail may have been one of these relics. But the evidence goes beyond the inscription. Carbon dating showed the box was made from pine wood sourced from Israel around 290 along with ancient oak dating back to 260 CE. Perfectly aligning with the timeline suggested by legend. When asked why the chamber remained forgotten for centuries, the archaeological team explained that after the Hussite invasion, all records of it disappeared. No one knew the room existed, so no one searched. And perhaps because of that, the holy nail lay undisturbed beneath the earth for over half a millennium, until history's light shone upon it once again. Göbekli is no longer the oldest temple. An archaeological era has been overturned. For years, Göbekli in southeastern Turkey was celebrated as the cradle of human civilization. 12,000 years old. It was considered the oldest temple ever built, where our ancestors first gathered to watch the stars and lay the foundations of culture. But now that title no longer belongs to Göbekli. Even though it became a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2018 and despite increasing academic recognition of its significance, researchers still do not know who built it. The more they study Göbekli, the more they realize it forces us to redefine prehistoric society. In 2012, scientists discovered something else nearby. The Şanlıurfa region, where Göbekli is located, has long been known as an archaeological treasure trove. Yet studying sites from 12,000 years ago is no easy task. For perspective, the Roman Empire lasted about 1,000 years, and modern America is only 248 years old. Surface surveys suggested there were other sites in the area of similar age. But archaeology takes time and resources. Not until 2021 did excavation begin at a site called Çakmaktepe. What has since been uncovered has pushed it to the forefront of research. Experts believe this site holds the most crucial secrets about the origins of human civilization. While many settlements in the region date back to the early Neolithic around 10,000 BC, Çakmaktepe is older still. The excavation team estimates it predates Göbekli by 1,000 years. Even more astonishing, it appears more complex and impressive than its famous neighbor. Findings at Çakmaktepe have shocked the world. While Göbekli is thought to have been a place of worship, Çakmaktepe seems to have been an actual settlement. Evidence of homes and public structures points to a community that existed 13,000 years ago in the Stone Age. Today, it's nothing more than a buried pile of stones. But beneath the ruins lies a lost world demanding vivid imagination to reconstruct. The deeper they dig, the clearer the mystery becomes. Some large structures resemble those at Göbekli, but with a critical difference. Göbekli appears to have been abandoned and later buried by geological shifts over millennia. Çakmaktepe, on the other hand, was dismantled. Its massive stone pillars and buildings were intentionally taken apart and buried. The question is baffling. What kind of civilization dismantles its own city and hides it underground? Was someone deliberately erasing this place from history, or were they trying to protect it for future generations? Whatever the reason, it worked. Because only now, after tens of thousands of years, are we beginning to touch the truth lying beneath the stones of time. Base 22. Beyond theories of ancient civilizations in the frozen continent. Some believe Antarctica once housed a top-secret Nazi base as large as a small city known by its chilling name Base 22 or New Berlin. According to modern legend, this icy fortress was not only used by the Nazis, but also by the secretive Illuminati. Sound like science fiction? That's just the surface. Many claim that at this place the Nazis made contact with alien technology or even met extraterrestrial beings themselves and received knowledge to create weapons far ahead of their time. This, they argue, explains their obsession with the occult and their extraordinary technological advancements. Some even believe the base still exists today, secretly operated by Nazi remnants, Illuminati members, and their alien allies as part of a plan to establish a new world order. However, researchers have only found traces of Nazi activity, near the Antarctic Circle during World War II. Before the war, Hitler sent an expedition to the Southern Ocean to search for whale oil sources needed to produce domestic fuel and grease in case trade was cut off. During this secret mission, they conducted scientific surveys of unexplored Antarctic lands. Officially, no base was ever built. It wasn't until 1981 that Germany established its first Antarctic station. And no evidence has ever surfaced of Illuminati or extraterrestrial presence there. The only pregnant mummy ever found. In Poland, a team of researchers was stunned when they discovered that an ancient Egyptian mummy, long believed to be a male priest, was actually a woman who had been pregnant at the time of her death. The shocking revelation came after X-ray scans and digital imaging revealed tiny bones of a fetus still nestled inside her body, indicating she was several months along when she died. What makes this even more extraordinary is that ancient Egyptians typically removed all internal organs during mummification, including those of unborn children, which were usually preserved separately. The presence of a fetus still in the womb is incredibly rare. The cause of her death remains unknown, but examination suggests the fetus was around 7 months old. Stranger still are the circumstances of the discovery. The mummy arrived in Warsaw in 1826. Based on inscriptions on the coffin, it was thought to belong to a male priest of high religious rank. However, anthropologist Marzena Silka's team discovered otherwise. Not only did the anatomy confirm the body was female, but her long intact hair also gave further clues. This prompted a deeper investigation, leading to the identification of the only known pregnant mummy ever recorded. Why was she mistaken for a man? It's likely her body was placed in the wrong coffin after being looted. In the 19th century, Egyptian artifacts flooded the European market, many sold by grave robbers. Thousands of mummies, coffins, and relics were scattered worldwide without clear provenance. No one knows where the man originally buried in the coffin ended up, or what the woman's original tomb once looked like. The Mammoth Bone Castle of the Ice Age. In the desolate Russian wilderness, archaeologists have uncovered a bizarre structure, a massive circular construction built entirely from bones. Around 25,000 years ago, a group of hunter-gatherers built their shelter from the remains of 60 woolly mammoths. But why? The question remains unanswered. Researchers are still uncertain about its purpose. Even more chilling is the fact that this isn't the only bone structure of its kind. Similar constructions were discovered in the 1960s and 70s, some located about 500 kilometers from Moscow. The most recent site was found in 2014, and it took years to fully excavate. This is now recognized as the largest and oldest mammoth house ever found in Russia. Analysis dates the bones to the Ice Age. The most widely accepted theory is that prehistoric people built these shelters from bones and covered them with mammoth hides to insulate against the brutal winters when temperatures often plunged below -15 degrees. The structure contains at least 51 jawbones and 64 mammoth skulls along with countless other bones. But why only mammoth remains? No traces of other animals were found. Some scientists, like Dr. Marjolaine Bosch of Cambridge University, suggest this was not merely a dwelling, but perhaps a temple, meeting place, or ancient ritual center. Its colossal size suggests it was meant to stand for generations as a sacred landmark. Evidence of fire pits suggests people once burned meat here, possibly for drying, whether it was a home or a ceremonial site. This monumental bone structure opens a mysterious window into our distant ancestors, those who lived among the ice and carried with them stories long buried by time. The Divers Cemetery, off the coast of Dahab, Egypt, lies a place only the bravest divers dare to enter, a site known as the Divers Cemetery. Beneath the crystal-clear waters is a massive sinkhole, a gateway to the depths of darkness. This natural formation, a marine cave, plunges over 100 meters deep, surrounded by vibrant coral reefs and dazzling fish. Its beauty lures countless divers. but it has claimed hundreds of lives. Official records note at least 40 deaths, though experts believe the true number is much higher. At the entrance, memorial plaques bear the names of those who never returned from their final dive. What makes this place so deadly? The geological structure is the main culprit. Just below the surface lies a shallow entry at around 6 m called the Saddle. Beyond it, the hole drops straight into a vast, dark abyss. Divers describe the sensation of peering into it as standing before an underwater cathedral. Majestic yet terrifying. The danger is compounded by the fact that the Saddle's exit is hard to find. Inexperienced divers often fail to locate the way back, drifting deeper into the pit. In the blue void, directions blur and disorientation sets in. Nitrogen narcosis, nicknamed the Martini effect, adds to the peril, making divers feel intoxicated, impairing judgment and depleting oxygen as they struggle to ascend. In 1992, technical diver T.K. Omar began exploring the site. Along the way, he repeatedly came across the bodies of the fallen. The more he searched, the more remains he retrieved, earning him the grim nickname, the Bone Collector. The diverse cemetery with its deadly beauty continues to mesmerize and terrify. A chilling reminder of the ocean's seductive yet merciless power. The ancient coffin in Bath. In the historic city of Ba, where Romans once lived over 2,000 years ago, archaeologists uncovered a limestone coffin containing the remains of 2 people. This unusual find has sparked theories that the bodies may have been sacrifices to the ancient Roman gods. Inside the coffin, one body was placed face down, while another set of bones was positioned at the first person's feet. The strange arrangement led experts to believe this was no ordinary burial, but possibly a pagan ritual with mystical significance. Not far from the grave, small blue and red glass beads were discovered, likely offerings. In Roman times, leaving jewelry or beads as tributes to the gods was common practice. Sylvia Warman, a science advisor for Historic England, called the discovery extraordinary, as this is the first ancient coffin excavated in modern times, right in the heart of Bath. Intriguingly, it was found beneath Sydney Gardens, a park where the novelist Jane Austen once strolled. The coffin was uncovered during landscaping work, and to the team's surprise, they also found cremated remains nearby. Cremation was rare in Roman Britain, where full-body burials were the norm, adding another layer to the mystery. Though the identities of the deceased remain unknown, most experts agree they were part of an ancient pagan ritual, one lost to the flow of time. The buried church beneath Russia near the ancient fortress of Narkala, a 4th-century landmark. Scientists discovered a peculiar structure buried nearly 11 m underground shaped like a cross. It might be the oldest church in the world or something entirely different. The irony is that this UNESCO World Heritage Site cannot be fully excavated due to international regulations. As a result, the building's true purpose remains an enigma. Several theories have been proposed. Some believe it was an ancient water reservoir, while others think it was a Zoroastrian fire temple or even an early Christian church. These ideas stem from reports by Russia's National University of Science and Technology. To uncover its secrets, scientists use ground-penetrating radar, the same technology used in 2017, to detect hidden voids in the Great Pyramid of Giza. The scans confirmed the structure's clear cross shape. Yet, despite peeling back the layers of earth, its true function remains a mystery. If it is indeed a church, could date back around 2,000 years. A silent witness to the dawn of religious history. The ancient cemetery on Havre Island in Croatia beneath the 17th-century Rodičević Palace on Havre Island. Archaeologists found a strange ancient cemetery filled with mysteries never before recorded. Buried in the earth were 32 skeletons, many of them interred in massive ceramic jars. These burials date back to the early 5th century CE, over 1,500 years ago. What stands out is not the number of skeletons, But the bizarre burial method. Adults placed in large jars as if to send them on their final journey in a clay vessel. Jar burials were typically reserved for infants or small children, as their tiny bodies fit easily inside. But here, the ancient people crafted jars over 1.88 m long to hold adults along with grave goods such as coins, pottery, and household items. Researchers are still trying to understand why they went to such effort. Was this ritual reserved for a special class of people? Or did it reflect a forgotten belief? An ancient faith that saw the jar as a symbolic boat carrying souls to the afterlife. The shards and white bones whisper of a tradition lost to time, echoing faintly through the soil of Havre. Heidi Ernst. In early summer 2023, Heidi Ernst, a 73-year-old veteran diver, had a horrifying encounter with a shark in the Bahamas. She had to be airlifted by helicopter from the waters off Grand Bahama to a hospital in Miami. The woman from Iowa nearly lost her life when the shark refused to tolerate her presence in its domain. According to Heidi, she never saw the shark approach. It surged upward from below, slamming into her with the force of a truck. Despite her age, her experience and resilience made her one of the most skilled divers around. The terrifying attack happened just as she finished her dive. As Heidi climbed the ladder to return to the boat only centimeters from safety, the shark clamped down on her leg. She described the moment as something out of a horror film. Even at 73, Heidi fought back. She punched the shark repeatedly in the face, struggling to make it release her. Finally, it let go just before it could strike again. Heidi managed to escape the water as blood gushed from her wounds. Her quick-thinking companion applied a tourniquet, saving her from bleeding to death on the spot. Yet, the shark left injuries beyond repair. At the Miami hospital, doctors had to amputate her leg to save her life. For Heidi, losing a leg was a small price to pay for survival. Her story now stands as a testament to extraordinary courage in the face of the ocean's brutality. The Kensington Runestone. In 1898, a strange artifact was unearthed in rural Minnesota. A runestone covered in ancient symbols. According to the Runist Museum, which now houses it, the stone was found tangled in the roots of an old aspen tree by a farmer about 24 kilometers from Alexandria. From that moment, the debate began and has never ended. Weighing around 90 kilograms, the stone bears a square section carved with runic inscriptions believed to have been left by Scandinavian explorers in 1362. If true, it would mean Vikings reached deep into North America centuries before history credits them. Such a discovery would upend the narrative of the discovery of the New World. Yet, since 1910, many scholars have dismissed it as a hoax. Some suspect the discoverer Olof Oman, a Swedish immigrant, may have carved it himself to gain local fame. Still, other experts insist the stone is authentic. For over a century, the argument has raged. Real or fake? No consensus has been reached. As a result, the Kensington Runestone remains an outlier of history. Mysterious, controversial, and never officially recognized. The Hemet Maze Stone. Hidden among the hills west of Hemet, California, lies a peculiar rock etched with an ancient pattern known as the Hemet Maze Stone. This engraving raises countless questions with theories ranging from Native American artistry to evidence of extraterrestrial visitors. The truth remains elusive. On the rock's surface, a 46 inches square encloses a complex maze-like pattern of interwoven ancient swastikas, all contained within a frame. Apart from a small swastika vandalized into it in the 1930s, the design remains intact. Who created it and why? In 1914, a rancher named Meyer stumbled upon the stone while hauling firewood through Reinhardt Canyon. News spread quickly, attracting puzzled archaeologists. By the 1920s, the Hemet Maze Stone had become a tourist attraction with roads and signs erected by the Southern California Automobile Club. In 1956, The property owner donated the stone and surrounding land to Riverside County, where it has since been protected as a historical landmark. Despite decades of study, its origins remain an unsolved mystery. Some experts believe the Luiseno tribe, Native Americans who once lived in the region, created it. Others disagree, arguing the design doesn't match any known indigenous rock art, fueling speculation of a more mysterious origin. Whether it is a sacred symbol, an ancient map, or simply an artistic creation, the Hemet Maze stone continues to baffle researchers and attract visitors. To this day, it stands as one of California's most enigmatic artifacts, a silent riddle carved in stone waiting for its answer. If you found these mysterious stories fascinating, be sure to share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you won't miss any of our upcoming explorations.